This is Tales and Whispers, where every story is felt, not just heard.
This is a wild one. It's the totally true story of a woman named Jennifer Fitzgerald and how one little piece of paper turned into a nightmare worth over $100,000. Seriously, this is a cautionary tale you're not going to forget. Okay, just imagine this for a second. You wake up one morning, roll over, grab your phone, just a normal start to a normal day, right? But then you see this message, and it says your driver's license is suspended. Wait, what? You're totally confused because you haven't done anything wrong. Your first thought is probably, okay, this has to be a mistake, some kind of glitch. I'll just make a quick call and sort this out. But then you start digging a little deeper, and it turns out it's not a mistake at all. All of it, the fines, the violations, it's all tied to one car, a car you've literally never even driven. You don't have the keys, maybe you even forgot it was still registered in your name. And no, this isn't some crazy movie plot, because this exact thing happened to a real person. This is Jennifer's story, and this is how that nightmare began. Her name is Jennifer Fitzgerald. She's a mom in Chicago, just, trying to make ends meet. And her story, well, it's a huge warning about trust, about what you're really responsible for, and just how powerful a simple piece of paper can be. The wildest thing is how it all started. It wasn't some huge dramatic event. It was something super normal, something that happens all the time. So back in 2008, her boyfriend bought a used car. It was a '99 Chevy Monte Carlo. We're not talking about anything fancy here, just a cheap ride to get around town. And this is where it gets insane. Look at this. It started as a car worth maybe $600, a beater. And somehow that turned into a debt of more than $105,000. I mean, how does that even happen? Well, the whole thing comes down to two little words: legal liability. See, the car was officially registered in Jennifer's name. That was the critical mistake, because in the eyes of the law, it doesn't matter who's driving it or where it is. If your name's on the paper, you're the one on the hook, period. So when Jennifer and her boyfriend broke up, that legal liability, it turned into this inescapable nightmare of red tape, a trap she just couldn't get out of. All right, let's break down the timeline. 2008, the car gets registered in her name. 2009, they break up. Then later that year, her ex just ditches the car in an employee parking lot at O'Hare Airport and just walks away. And for the next 3 years, that car just sits there, collecting tickets, all in her name. And this is the crazy part. This is why she was so stuck. It's not like she could just go get it. The car was in a secure lot she wasn't allowed in. She didn't have the keys. She even tried to get the police to help, but they couldn't just walk in there either. So think about that. She was legally on the hook for something she had absolutely no physical way of controlling. So you can imagine what happened next. The tickets just kept piling up, violation after violation. The debt got bigger and bigger until, boom, the state suspended her driver's license. This wasn't just an inconvenience. It messed with her ability to get a job, to live a normal life. All because of a car she couldn't even touch. Okay, so after 3 long years of this car just sitting there collecting dust and tickets, the other shoe finally dropped. The bill came due. Finally, the city of Chicago towed the car, so the tickets stopped coming. But honestly, the damage was more than done. So what do you think the final tally was? After all that time, what was the grand total for this abandoned $600 car? More than $105,000. Just let that sink in for a minute. That's enough to buy a small house in some places, and it all started with a single signature. So how on earth did it get that high? Well, court records show it was from 678 separate violations. Can you believe that? This wasn't just one big fine. It was death by 1,000 paper cuts. Ticket after ticket, penalty after penalty, all building up in a system that just saw a name on the registration, not a real person trapped in an impossible situation. Eventually, Jennifer had to sue both the city and her ex. And what happened next really gets to the core lesson of this whole crazy story. So, after a huge legal fight, they finally reached a settlement. The city basically slashed the fine, bringing it down to about $4,500, which she could pay over time. I guess they realized how insane the whole thing was. But even though the money problem got smaller, you can't just erase the years of stress, the damage from having a suspended license. All of that had already taken its toll. And really, this whole thing boils down to one powerful, kind of scary idea. A piece of paper can be more of a prison than actual prison walls. When you're up against a legal document with your signature on it, your intentions, they just don't matter. Okay, so this isn't just some crazy story to tell. It's a huge warning. So let's talk about what you can actually do to make sure this kind of thing never, ever happens to you. Rule number 1, never, and I mean never, let someone register property in your name as a simple favor. A car, a phone, whatever. That signature makes you the one and only person the system cares about. Number 2, actually read what you're signing, always. If you feel rushed, that's a huge red flag. 3, if you get any kind of official notice in the mail, deal with it immediately. Pushing it off just makes it a million times worse. And last, keep records of everything. Emails, texts, contracts. That paper trail is your best friend if things go south. Now, Jennifer's story is obviously an extreme case, but these little paper traps are everywhere, right? Systems that don't really factor in the messy reality of human life. So I want to leave you with a question to chew on. What's the biggest paper trap you've ever seen or heard about? Something to think about. Thanks for watching.